Hey guys, how about a little family genealogy and a tribute to my best friend. Hey guys, I wanted to say first that today is the anniversary, the second anniversary of the death of my best friend. His name was George Coghill. He lived in a place called Bucoda, Washington. He was originally born and raised in Southern California, was born in Altadena, lived in Monrovia until he was about 6 years old, and then he and his parents moved to Inglewood, where he left Inglewood for good in about 1966, and his parents left in 1972. The neighborhood was like really changing at that time, and so he ended up playing rugby professionally in England for about 4 years after his college career at University of California, Golden Bears. He then came back to the States after 4 years. There is no professional rugby in the United States, so he ended up working for a power company in Southern Cal, which is, I think, Edison. Well, didn't care for it, didn't care for what he was assigned to, but he had the skill to do that work. He was able to secure a job up in the state of Washington, where his wife was from. And so she wanted to move back closer to her parents, and so that's what they did. They moved up to Bucoda, Washington, and his wife ended up passing away before he did. Many years. He was a widower, just like I was, so we shared that. And that was one of the things that made our friendship special, is we shared being a widower, and we had a lot of things in common from that. So just wanted to wrap this up saying, thank you for your friendship, George. I loved you. You were a great man. You were a great part of my family. I know that many people in my family actually came to love you as well. My mom, my cousin Harriet, they all ended up corresponding with you outside of me and being friends with you as well. So I loved you, George. You were a great man, and I miss you a great deal. I wish you were still here, man. I could really use you these days. Anyways, getting on to the genealogy, if you look over here, you'll see this curious number with my name to it. Well, in a genealogical chart, that is my name. Ooh, thunder. I wonder if y'all heard that. The genealogical chart, that's my number. That's my assigned number as my descendant, as being a descendant of King King James the First of England, King James the Sixth of Scotland. He was King of Scotland first. He was made that way after he was born. Just a few weeks after he was born, his mother, who was the sovereign, Mary, Queen of Scots, was forced to abdicate because she was a Catholic, and Scotland by then was a confirmed Protestant country. They did not want a Catholic queen, and she had been reigning there for about 4 or 5 years before the child was born, and they saw the opportunity, and her nobles said, "You're out, you're done, you're gone." So it was like a coup, and she was forced to abdicate, and she did. And so she went off to live in the south of Scotland. They didn't exile her to another country. They let her stay there. But she was also, at the same time, because of her genealogy, she was the heir to the throne of England. Henry VIII had 3 children. His oldest, his successor was King Edward VI. He was a teenager when he died. He was 16 when he died. So he had no children. Then there was Queen Mary, Bloody Mary. She was Catholic. She was Catherine of Aragon's daughter. She tried to bring back Catholicism. And many people think she got a tumor in her stomach, a cancerous tumor, and she died. She thought it was a pregnancy, and it was probably a cancerous tumor. And so she ended up dying after just 5 years as Queen of England. And so that gave the throne to Elizabeth. Elizabeth was famously or infamously known as the Virgin Queen. She never married. She never had any children. She had love affairs. If they were consummated, that's, nobody will ever know. But she never married. She never had any children. So then that means they had to go to her, for her successor, they had to go to her next of kin. Well, her next of kin was actually Mary, Queen of Scots, because Mary's grandmother was King Henry VIII's sister. So she was next in line for the throne. So, and she had abdicated the Scottish throne, but she had not abdicated the English throne, and she would not abdicate her rights to the English throne. So that made her a threat to Queen Elizabeth. And so Queen Elizabeth devised a way to draw her in to England for protection, quote unquote. Then once in there, got some of her agents, some of Elizabeth's agents, they convinced Mary to look at or think about or talk about a plan to come down and reclaim the English throne in the name of the Catholic Church as a legitimate Catholic on the throne. And so when she supposedly was caught for this, she was arrested by Elizabeth because she was in the country illegally, and she was supposedly talking treason, which, of course, talking about overthrowing a sitting king or queen is treason. So she was locked away, she was given a trial, and she was executed in 1587. She had a son, though, and her son had never given up his rights to the throne of England. So King James of Scotland was sitting there as the heir. Elizabeth died in 1603. King James came down. He was a Protestant, because that was the reason they made his mother abdicate, was because then he was taken away and raised as a Protestant. And so he was ready to embrace the English church and become King of England. And so he was King of England and Scotland. James I of England, James VI of Scotland. They were not yet the United Kingdom. That wouldn't happen officially until 1707. So, taking that into account, this is my descent from King James. I know I'm going long-winded with this. I'm probably going to come back and do an edit job. So if you take a look at the number and you go backwards 2, 2, 11, 1, 1, that it means that I am the second son of the 11th child, because there were multiple sons and daughters in that family, and the rest of my, I don't know by heart what's the how many, if they were a son or a daughter, but that's how you figure that out. And so you go 11, 1, then one child, and then of the first child, of the second child, of the first child, of the third child, of the first child, of the third child, first of the first, and so on, all the way back to King James. And so that's my little thing. It's probably boring as hell, but that's how I am descended from, and that is how many? I think it's 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I am 16 generations removed from King James and 17 generations removed from Mary Queen of Scots. Doesn't do me any good. That, and it takes me still $1.50 to buy a cup of coffee. And if I go to Starbucks, it's going to cost me $5. Take it easy, teasy, peasy. Too long of a vlogust, I know, but I have 2 days to make up for yesterday and today. Y'all take care. God bless. Bye, y'all.